Type 2 diabetes is the inability to process sugar correctly. When you eat sugar, when you eat a banana, the sugar goes into your stomach and then into your intestines where it is absorbed. The sugar is absorbed and it goes into your bloodstream. That's where we start talking about high blood sugar. So the bloodstream isn't the final place where the sugar ends up. The final place where the sugar ends up is your cells, because that's how we get our energy, right? The glucose goes into our bloodstream and then into our cells, and then we get energy from that. So we eat sugary foods, they get digested, they get into our bloodstream, and then our pancreas secretes insulin. So the insulin links up with the sugar, and we get the sugar into the cells, and everything's all good. So the interesting and almost shocking thing about this all is that type 2 diabetes is not necessarily caused by high sugar intake. So research has shown that type 2 diabetes is actually caused by dietary fat. And it's not all types of fat, but the most common types of fat that cause type 2 diabetes is saturated animal fat, and of course hydrogenated oils, which are trans fats. Plant fats, especially unrefined plant fats, are actually good for you and can help increase insulin sensitivity. So it seems that when we eat saturated animal fat, the fat ends up sinking into our muscle cells. And this in turn also coats our insulin receptor sites, which ends up blocking the insulin from being able to do its job correctly, thus leaving high amounts of sugar in our blood and not processed into the cells like they should be.
Young, healthy people split them up into two groups, half on a fat-rich diet and half on a carb-rich diet. Within just 2 days, this is what happens. The glucose intolerance skyrockets in the fat group. In response to the same sugar challenge, the group that had been shoveling in fat ended up with twice the blood sugar. As the amount of fat in the diet goes up, so does our blood sugar spikes. Why would eating fat lead to higher blood sugar levels? Here's a muscle cell. Here's some blood sugar outside, waiting patiently to come in. Insulin is the key that unlocks the door to let sugar in our blood enter the muscle cell. What if there's enough insulin, but the insulin doesn't work? The key is there, but something's gummed up the lock. This is called insulin resistance. Our muscle cells become resistant to the effect of insulin. What's gumming up the door locks in our muscle cells, preventing insulin from letting sugar in? Fat. What's called intramyocellular lipid, fat inside our muscle cells. Fat in the bloodstream can build up inside the muscle cell, creating toxic fatty breakdown products and free radicals that can block the signaling pathway process. So no matter how much insulin we have out in our blood, it's not able to open the glucose gates, and blood sugar levels build up in the blood. So that explains this finding. On a high-fat, ketogenic diet, insulin doesn't work very well. Our bodies become insulin resistant. But as the amount of fat in our diet gets lower and lower, insulin works better and better.
So to come to the overall conclusion, why I don't have diabetes or sugar metabolism problems, in other words, with eating all this sugar, and when I'm not eating sugar, eating other types of sugar like rice, potatoes, carbohydrates, all of these foods that are typically thought to be bad for us or raise blood sugar levels. And that's because I eat overall a low-fat diet, and the fats that I do eat are plant-based fats and often unrefined fats. So I don't find myself eating hydrogenated vegetable oils and things that are often put into junk food snacks, and I'm not eating any saturated animal fat. So there you have it, guys. There's the reason why I can metabolize high amounts of sugars, and anyone can eat high amounts of healthy whole plant sugars without having to worry about diabetes if we keep animal fats out of our diet and unrefined oils out of our diet as well, so we can eat as much as we enjoy of nature's bounty without having to worry about health issues. So thank you guys for watching. As always, keep eating plants, and I'll see you next time.